All right, here's something else to consider. You've got mature pines, probably 18 to 20-year-old, and then you've got, I don't know, probably 10 to 12-year-old pines. You've got a transition. Here you got another water oak tree. All of these are areas to check. And just keep in mind now, we're on public land, and with public land, the easier it is to get to, the more likely you are to have company. So you got to be careful. All right, here's another hunting scenario that you've got to be cognizant of, especially hunting on public land. Now what we've got is three different ecotones that kind of came together. You've got mature pines and gallberries and palmettos. You've got 10 to 12-year-old planted pines. And then you've kind of got a mix of incredibly mature pines and oak scrub. And anytime you get three ecotones that come together, especially when there's oak trees, you've got an opportunity to see some deer. Now it looks like this particular tree over here, somebody's got a climber and wore it out, and hopefully they killed some deer. But like I said, anytime you are scouting on Google Earth and you see three colors that kind of come together, and here's the point, kind of right here, private land 2 may not be a bad place to look. And let me give you another tip about public land. I've probably passed up areas that never saw a hunter because they were too close to the road, too easy to get to, and just didn't want to be bothered by somebody walking through here at 9 o'clock in the morning. So sometimes it's a roll of the dice, but this particular area right here looks like it might be a decent place. It'd be a lot more scouting to do and check these oak trees, but it could be a good spot. All right, so you keep pushing through these planted pines, and then you kind of come to an area like this. I found this on Google Earth, and it looks like a spike kind of came through here and pushed this tree over. But the main thing is what you got. You got this little island in here, and you got some oak trees. Like I said, all this is a process. You find the oak trees first, and then you come back and you check them if they got acorns on them, and a lot of times they will not have acorns. I mean nothing. But if they got them, well, then you got to come back and see what time of year they're falling, and then you got to check and see if the deer are feeding underneath them. Like I said, it's a process and it isn't easy, but if you want to kill deer, especially on public land, this is what you got to do. Feet on the ground, and you got to move through some areas. All right, so you're cruising through a different type of planted pine, different type of growth scenario. As you can tell, these trees look to be about 17, 18 years old, and they've blocked enough of the sunlight out to where that switchgrass, the stuff that's real difficult to walk through, is all kind of gone. And what you're doing is you're easing through, and just kind of out of nowhere, you come to this. This is a Florida live oak tree. This could be absolute gold. Private land, public land. This is public land still. But these things, you talk about nature's feeders. When they load up and when it gets right, you can kill deer for months off of them. This is an old rub. But again, you got a scenario where you could put a lock on up there, or lean a ladder stand up there, kind of get your background so where nothing can backlight you. But when they start dropping and when it's on, you will see some deer. See, that old tree got rubbed raw, broke off. It doesn't look like this one dropped acorns this year. And again, these things can be cruel to you. They'll drop like crazy one year, and then you won't see anything for 2 or 3 years, and then, like I said, some of them just drop every single year. But then not every year the deer will come out and feed on them. Looks like there's been some deer moving through here. Old tracks. But that's what you do. You keep cruising through these planted pines, and it's just a jungle. nothing but planted pines, and then you come across something like this, you have reached absolute nirvana, providing the factors are right. And like I said, in August, you take your binoculars and look up into the canopy. You can tell whether it's got acorns or not, and then you can tell about what time of year they're going to drop. A lot of times, it'll be September, October, and the acorns will be tiny, which means they'll drop late December, January. And again, if the deer find them, and this is one they want to feed on, you can kill a late season set of horns off of them. Let me share something else with you. It is late February, actually middle February, and it's 80 degrees outside, and I'm wearing a pair of Rocky snake boots. I would not be caught dead in the woods without a pair of snake boots, and I got chaps in my car, or my truck, and when the conditions warrant it, that's what I do. I'll put chaps on. If I could have them up to my neck, I would wear chaps, simply because for whatever reason, snakes like to find me, the poisonous kind. I've been hit 3 times in probably the last 10 years by water moccasins. All 3 times I've had both boots and chaps on. So you got to be careful, because I do a lot of scouting by myself. I do a lot of hunting by myself. And the last thing I want to do is wreck my world by getting hit by a poisonous snake. Like I said, I'm just kind of strolling through these planted pines here. And I know management areas and public land, a lot of times it's not this easy. This just happens to be an area where the walking is real easy, except for the pine rows, but you're going to get some really good exercise. But you come out through here and you got another one, another potential hot spot, another big Florida live oak. And again, you just come back, you check, you see if it's got acorns. If it's got acorns, you check and see when they might be falling. When they start falling, you make a quick trip in here and see if there's anything feeding on them. And you just keep checking. It may be completely dry, but again, it may be a honey hole. All right, here's another one. It's probably 100 yards from the last one. I'm gonna let you guys in on, it may not be a secret, it was to me for years, and I've been using Google Earth for a long time, but if you look up on the Google Earth toolbar, there's something you can click on, and what it does is it puts a little grid up there, and you can actually slide that grid back to 1994. Now, all of this property was at one time a clear cut, and they left the live oaks. Well, when you hit that clear cut year, and it might be 2004, it might be 1999, you can see every single one of these live oaks. So what do? You print the page, and then you go to whatever management area, and it could be private land too, it doesn't matter, and put your snake boots on, and you get out in the woods, because again, this could be another potential honey hole. And the more of these you have, the easier your deer season gets. And I'm going to try to find as many as I can.